Hello, and welcome to the Sunday edition of the Daily Word. It's me, and it's Sunday. And after having been a spiritual director for over 20 years doing Sunday services, I thought today's message would be a little more like an abbreviated service, short of pantyhose, high heels, and sing-alongs. I want to talk about two spiritual practices that I think cross the board, no matter what faith you may follow or not. The first one being that of gratitude. If ever there was a time to count our blessings, it would be now. Our typical blessings, and I would add into that blessings for the essential workers that are out there on the front lines for you and me. They are doctors and nurses. They are grocery store clerks and pharmacists. They are the delivery drivers who bring things to your door to keep you safe. I hope that we all express a little more compatience and gratitude to each of them for doing what they're doing with that brave, selfless service. I am grateful that all of this is going on in spring instead of winter. Can you imagine trying to navigate all this in crazy, snowy, awful weather? The other thing that I want to give thanks for is the internet. For Wi-Fi, for what we are doing, because if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be connecting like this. We wouldn't be able to get updates from our social media or news sources. We wouldn't be able to connect with our family and friends to check in on them and know that they're okay. So I am grateful for the internet and for Wi-Fi. The other spiritual practice that I'd like to suggest today is that of forgiveness. Not always a popular one, because usually when there's a person or a situation in our past that we haven't forgiven, it's because we think we're right and they done us wrong. And maybe they did. Yet this is the time, particularly when we have all of this quiet time, to really look at all of that, to be able to forgive those people and places and things, to get to a place of amnesty, if you will, letting it all go. Many of you in New Thought know there's a phrase that they use. They say that, forgiveness is like holding on to poison and hoping the other person dies. No, the poison is within us. So if we can rid ourselves of the poison of negativity and fear, that epidemic leaves. We begin to create an epidemic possibility of more love, more compassion, more creativity, and more joy. I'm not trying to be airy-fairy about this. What I know is that our internal mental environment, our thoughts and our feelings, are equally as important as the scientific changes that we must make outside for our external environment, including social distancing, washing our hands, etc. So I'm going to close with a quote from Dr. Ernest Holmes, who happens to be the founder of Science of Mind and Spirit. And he wrote this. It was put in a Science of Mind magazine article back in 1971, and he must have wrote it way before then. How wonderful it is to think that we can broadcast mental germs of confidence, of love, of peace, of joy, and of goodwill. How wonderful to know that each one of us can influence his or her environment, that everyone who steps into it will be benefited. We don't have to be a scientist to be that. We can right now change our mental environment and begin to assist everyone around us by shifting our thoughts of fear and anger and negativity and uncertainty. I'm not discounting that those may come up, but every time we can shift that, we make a difference. We can make those changes. So I'm thanking you for being with me on this Sunday little service message, and for doing your part. Stay safe, stay sane, stay you. See you tomorrow.